I welcome you all for another Friday lecture today by a very special speaker. So I'll request Meera Kumar Menon to please introduce the topic and also the speaker. Meera, please go on.
Thank you, Niharika. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome Mr. Rajiv Balakrishnan today. He is a civil engineering graduate from MIT Manipal. Hailing from a family of civil engineers, he has worked in many fields of civil engineering, which includes building tunnels and bridges, quality control and instrumentation, upgraded the services to repairs and renovation of buildings. His hobbies are building natural buildings and recycling materials, etc. He has conceptualized, designed, and founded Ora Kalari, which is a tree house and a mud house, which has been converted as a stay now. We are very excited to hear from you, sir, about sustainable living design. We see a lot of different kinds of architecture these days, but yours really does stand out. Ora Kalari does stand out for its very interesting conceptualization, which is very close to nature. So we would love to hear from you. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. Hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, can we start with the presentation then straight away? Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me first of all. And we would, I'll start the presentation now. Are you able to do the presentation from there?
So you can share your screen. Like,
1 minute, I
Meera, is Rajiv sir there with us?
Yeah. So is there a problem connecting? So could you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I'm just trying to share the, get the screen.
Okay.
You're able to do the screen sharing?
Okay, just a second.
Hmm. Okay.
Dismiss.
Sir, can you see my screen, sir?
1 minute.
Sir, are you able to see my screen?
Uh,
Meera, are you here?
yeah. We can
You can
see your screen. We can see your screen.
screen.
It's still sharing.
Come on.
Is it okay now?
We cannot view it. Yeah, we can see it now, Niharika.
Okay. Sir, can you see the screen?
Yeah, yeah, this one, right? Can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you.
sir. We can hear you.
Sorry for the delay. Okay, so today's topic is about sustainable living designs. Next. Can I go to the next slide? Okay. Yeah, I would like to thank Mrs. Sangeeta Menon, Professor and Dean of NIAS, the entire NIAS team for creating and facilitating such a wonderful and enlightening program. All the participants and viewers who are coming today to listen to this talk, and I hope I am able to deliver some value for your time spent with me here. Thank you. Next slide, please. Next slide. Can you go to the next slide?
Sir, I have gone to the next slide.
Okay. Now I got it. Yeah. So what is sustainability? Sustainability is, according to the dictionary meaning, it is avoidance of the depletion of natural resources in order to maintain ecological balance. It is something which has to be replenished also. Like it is something, when it is depleted, as it is actually should be replenishing. That is where we are having a lack now. And sustainable living is a constant process and not a destination by itself. So the main pillars of sustainability are economy, society, and environment. Next slide. Okay. So we have a very high consumerist lifestyle. We can see a lot of production of different kinds of products being coming and things like that. So developing the economy of the country, but then there was damage also happening. High uncontrollable spiral growth. Nobody's able to control it by itself, which is depleting the natural. In the economy and the political system, the environmental impact, it's actually the economy and political system is very much intertwined. Most of the political system exists at the center of each country, and it extracts wealth from the periphery, concentrates at the center, and the center develops. So as it develops more and more, it will suck even more and more from the periphery. So the peripheral boundary reaches out more and more periphery. So that is how the environmental damage is really happening. It sucks up the natural resources and create an existential crisis, which will collapse like a black hole, sucking everything into it. Next slide, please. I'm just giving a general talk on this sustainable right now. Okay, next slide.
Niharika, can we have the slides? The slide sharing is off. We request you to wait just a minute. We'll just fix this.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry, there's some network glitch I'm getting. Sorry about that. Yeah, is it visible?
Not yet.
Is it visible now?
No.
I'm sorry, sir. We're just working around the technical issue.
Sure, sure, no problem.
Good afternoon, all of you. My name is Sangeeta. So I think we have some problem today with the net, or I think it was not very clear who will be sharing the screen. And I guess this happens, it's live. So maybe some of you should just show your videos and have a chat with Mr. Rajiv Balakrishnan and make use of the time we have until our coordinators figure out whether it's possible to share the screen from NIAS or not. So I see few people, I see 23 people, but I don't see many faces. So maybe we should have a conversation with Rajiv until our coordinators figure out whether it's possible to share the screen or not. I don't know about it.
At least some of them can introduce themselves also.
Yes,
So,
introduce yourself.
At least I know whom I'm talking to.
Also,
like,
your interest in the main topic. Because
Yeah.
I think Rajiv Balakrishnan is one of the key faces in Bangalore, particularly showcasing sustainability, and he's sitting in that beautiful place he has built and he has dedicated his life for, called Aura Kalari. So, and maybe if you come to Bangalore and post-COVID times, perhaps you should consider visiting his place. It's an absolutely beautiful place. And it has a mango tree, which actually shapes in the whole place. And he has built this space so as to save that mango tree. So maybe I think we can use some time to have a conversation with him. If any of you are interested, if any of you would like to talk with him, we can do that.
Thank you for that introduction.
Okay, it looks like I don't think anybody is interested in asking a question. So Meera, do you know what is happening with the screen share? I think Rajiv may not be having a good network in his place, and I guess that is the reason. Okay,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
Niharika
it's
is,
coming.
Nias also, I
coming.
think, is not having a good time today with the network. That's why Niharika is having problem sharing the
I'm
screen.
very sorry, ma'am. The network is having
Yeah, I
there's
know
some
that.
problem.
That's true. Okay, I think I see someone writing
Yeah,
from
it's fine.
Johannesburg saying, okay, I think they can't unmute themselves. That is what I think the participants have written. So I don't know whether this screen sharing will continue for long because it depends upon the network. So we can go through, we can try this, Niharika, but I really don't know how long you will be able to do this. You can try it.
Ma'am,
Niharika, I think you muted me. So I was trying to say, in case the network fails next time and we have difficulty because we have limited time, maybe we should have a conversation. And I think people have written that they are not able to unmute themselves. So that's why they are not able to talk. So
Exactly.
people who are
Just now we got
interested
people.
should be able to talk. Maybe we can try the screen sharing now. And I think Niharika did try, but I don't know how sustainable it is given that it is shaky today. Niharika, you want to say something?
I'm really sorry, ma'am. I have given participants they can unmute themselves now, ma'am. I'm really sorry. I'll just take 2 minutes and I'll just figure this out.
Yeah, I think Mr. Damodaran said that Rajiv, you may open the PPT on your laptop and just talk. Actually, that's a good suggestion.
Okay, I need to first get this on my laptop.
Hey, Rajiv, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Just open your PPT on your screen and
Okay.
keep talking so that we may not see it, but then we can hear it.
Okay, I was
So
actually
and then
somebody
later you
else's
can
laptop
explain
now.
your property features so that many would have not seen it.
Yeah, true.
That's the best way to go about
Thing is, I'm using somebody else's laptop, so
the PPT is all okay. Okay, I think or you just keep talking about your property and explain what you have done.
yeah, okay, I'll just explain it
It's more
anyway. Like,
interesting than
okay,
this. Yeah.
I'll say the theory at least like now. So basically, it all started with one of my friend Ranjan Mularat, who is actually a Kalripat artist, and he. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Now, what happened was he wanted to build a Kurikalari, which is actually first of all, I don't know, many people may not be knowing what is Kalari. Kalari Paittu is a martial art form from Kerala, and Kalari means it is an open training ground. It is what has happened is um, we came to build a Kalari which is below the ground. That is traditional style of Kalari. So what happened was we had a lot of soil which came out from that from below the ground, and that soil was lying next to, I mean, I just bought the place next to it because there was a beautiful tree there, and I also wanted to do something which is very traditional and very close to what I can do for the Kalari. So that's how it all started. What happened was I got some masons who were working with mud, and then I designed the space.
Sir, is it visible now?
Yeah, now the screen is visible.
Yeah, screen is visible.
I apologize for this. Yeah, so
No,
you
it's
were
okay.
on this slide.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
It happens.
yeah. Let's start with this now. We are talking about money here. So money, as all of you know, like it is basically something which has not been there long back, which is just a barter system where if you have a skill and I have a skill, we both exchange each other's skill and services. Then came the minted money, then came the printed money, then came now the latest digital money. So money works through a banking system in most of the countries, and you know that how it works. Bank also wants to charge interest from where they are loaning out the money, and that creates a kind of development because bank also has to survive, and they also have to increase their profits. So the development becomes more, and people all concentrate on the return of investments, and so on like that. Money can be told as an oxygen, like because oxygen is actually required for us to live, but we don't require to live for oxygen. It's the same with money. We need not actually saying, kind of live for money. Money can be part of our life. So the less usage of money, the less work we have to do for making it back, or that means less damage to the environment. So you can go on for the next slide. So one of the reason for a lot of unsustainability which is coming in is because of high population which is there right now. And high population means it is more space, more food, more energy, more resources, more power. Okay, next one. I'm just going through a general talk on this. Yeah, this creates a kind of the impact which has is like there's a lot of eco anxiety which is going on. It's something like a depression and fear of losing life due to natural or man-made calamities. The dwelling units are getting destroyed because of some recurring floods, like in Kerala, Coorg and all, and even in Bombay and all. Livelihood, as in the case of latest corona infection, a lot of people have been losing their jobs and things like that. Then their cultural heritage is getting lost. Their stable native life resulted in a kind of forced migration, which damages the sense of identity, their belonging to the community, the sense of community. Yeah, next one. Okay, it's time for us to wake up to the reality of environmental damage which has been happening. It's high time we all stand together for a sustainable development. It's really tough now where technology has developed so much, and a sustainable development can happen only and only if there is a compromise between the protecting the natural environment and the pursuit of an economic growth. So it goes hand in hand actually. The economic growth also have to be there, but at the same time the natural environment need to be protected. So it has to work out between a kind of compromise between the two. So let's not do a blame game here with the government or industry or anybody. Instead, we can actually shrink ourselves into a kind of self-sustainable living mode. The next slide. Yeah, before going further, I would like to just kind of highlight some of the laws of nature. All life feeds on death. So why if something has to grow, something has to die. So that is the first point in nature. It has been happening like that. So it's part of nature. But then there is a kind of replenishment which is happening. If in natural way, there is a replenishment happening, which is not happening when we are actually creating a lot of, kind of death. Then every natural creation is unique. You can say there's nothing repeated. Even man to man itself, there is a lot of difference. The same thing between animals, between humans and all. And there are no monoculture in nature. It's not a culture which it's something like only man has to live and others have to just kind of sacrifice everything in nature. That is not true. And nothing in nature again ever stops moving. It is always on the move. There's no way it stops. And nature has a series of geometry. Like the only closest most probably kind of what a mathematics can actually define the geometry of nature is the Fibonacci number series. But then that also is just another kind of boxing which really what do you say, which tries to define, but then what the boxing is all about. It is something like, let's say we have classified these amphibians, we have classified the mammals as animals. Then there is something in between called like something like a platypus, which is both, like, so there is no stoppage or there's no boundary as such in geometry, in nature's geometry. And one more thing is life quickly occupies any niche it can exist in. If you see even a small rock gap, you can see one plant growing through that. Like that, everywhere in every niche, there is something growing up. So it's all constantly on the move. Then nature uses just as many resources as are necessary and no more. Nature is like that. Only we are actually taking too many resources for what is not required by us. Next slide, please. Yeah. So this diagram probably gives it in more detail. you can see that ecological and between the difference between that ecological and ecological, kind of existence. The ecological is very authoritarian, it's dualistic, it's unsustainable, it's delusional, it's mechanistic, is self-destructive, unwise, imbalanced, and power-seeking. There's ecological, you can see we are only just part of the whole, kind of universe, and all other things are existing around us, existing together, like kind of. So it's very democratic, it's holistic, it's sustainable, it's compassionate, it's natural, it's regenerative, it's wise, balanced, and interdependent. Next slide. Okay, now comes to our building designs, sustainable building designs. One of the most important part in buildings is the energy part of it. So as you all know, there are I'm not talking about something in the infrastructure level. This is a very basic and how so you can see solar, wind, can be used as a source of energy. You can actually use energy which is kind of coming from hydro energy or nuclear energy or any other sort of energy which is actually using up a lot of natural resources. Then biogas is something which can be used in our own dwelling units for a form of for the fire part of it, for cooking part of it. The next slide, please. Okay. Then comes lighting. Lighting also is part of energy. Lighting is considered as a pollution by many environmentalists these days, because what is happening is like, we are lighting up the world so much in the night, so much energy is getting wasted. And another thing is like it is actually destroying the, microorganisms, which is actually, kind of not only micro, many of these and those things are actually getting affected because it was supposed to be day, it should be light, actually of those cycles. So the best thing to go for is like you can have some kind of light whenever is required. You can use that sensor, so when the sensors when somebody is moving or something. Then we have this solar daylight harvesting. This is a so you can see the two things with the two photographs there. One is for a very poor country where they have in the slums. What they did was they put these normal plastic bottles, and I did one of these things here. I can show you at a later part of this presentation. I tried this, and you can see a lot of colored lights inside my mud house with the same concept. So the second picture what you see there is the daylight harvesting, which is the most recent development in daylight harvesting. And this has gone to a level where you can actually take the sunlight almost like about 25 feet into the building, and you can light up the places after 25 feet. That level, this technology is developed now, but it's pretty expensive. So again, if you look at it, there's a lot of production and things like that which is required to do that. The other way of doing making it better is by efficient interior designing and lighting. If you really design the lighting properly inside your office space or your houses and all, you can actually reduce a lot of energy being used up. Then LED, again LED is a very good energy efficient lighting, but there is a little bit of production, for the production there's some sort of energy required. So but still it may be worth it to change over to LED now. Next slide. Okay, here comes some of the building designs. This one, like one is this size, the size of the building. So we'll just, before going to our own sizes, we actually, you can look at the animal architecture. Here, there's something where how an animal or a bird, kind of creates its home. So you can see there's no surplus dimensions at all, and no unnecessary structure is made by them. Then they use just readily available materials. And they always use, you can see optimum space usage by defining circular space. There's something called as utility space and a circulation space. So if you know how the movement is happening inside a building, then you can only design based on that. You can design whatever utility areas that you want. So it actually minimizes the structure. It also the usage, the material consumption, the labor, material again of so again so you can reduce that. You can reduce the labor. They can be something else like actor or so. Yeah, next slide, please. Okay. Just a small example of shape can influence or design your quantity of material in just an example of 100.
We can't hear you. Try switching off your video.
So your network might be a little unstable.
So you can only speak. Video you can switch off.
Rajiv sir, can you hear?
Rajiv sir? Rajiv sir? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Rajiv sir?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Hear me?
Sir, you can try switching off your video, sir.
Okay. That's
I think the audio is not connected. He has switched off his video.
Hi everyone, we'll just take a few minutes and let sir get back. Meanwhile, would all of you, may I request all of you to please switch on your videos and probably introduce all of yourselves who is interested in this subject and this topic, why you're here and all of that. Maybe we could have a little chat and let Rajiv sir come back. Would
The screen, your screen sharing, you should stop. Then only you can see us.
Yeah. Sure, sir. Abhishek, can you?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. This is again a Balakrishnan. I'm a project management consultant. I'm in the construction field for the last more than 50 years. And now I'm into a project which is in the shape of Rudraveena, 100 feet tall Rudraveena, where an international university is coming up for performing arts. The first phase of that is completely full of mud house and bamboo houses are coming up. You can say for children to sit there and study like our old time. So I was with Mr. Balakrishnan some time back. I have visited him, a known person to me. So that has given me more interest in whatever he is doing. That is what that's my background. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for introducing yourself. Sakshi, would you like to say something perhaps? Niharika, could you unmute Sakshi? Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm a master's student. I'm doing cognitive science. And basically, sustainable development is something I'm really interested in because as a bachelor student, I've done anthropology. And things that have motivated me a lot have been how the society is progressing and also psychology related to it. So I really wanted to look into how sir is, getting into sustainable development and designs, and how actually it can, interact with the user interface and psychology in that terms. So, and plus I was really interested in how it is working. So yeah, that is why I'm here.
Wow, that's wonderful. It's good to meet you, Sakshi. Rajiv sir, are you back? Sir, could you unmute yourself?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So would you be able to put the screen again?
Yes, sir, we'll do that.
Okay. So if you see this screen, this for an example of about 100 square feet. Rectangle is very arbitrary actually, because 5 by 20 nobody designs at 5 by 20. But just to get that square feet area, I just calculated this way. If you take a rectangle of 5 by 20, it gives 100 square feet, but the total length of perimeter walls is around 50 running feet. And if you take a square of 10 by 10, it also is 100 square feet, but the total perimeter is coming to 40 running feet. And if you take a round of dial 11.25 feet perimeter, you get 35 running feet. So if you can see the difference, how the shape makes, in changing in lessening the resources. Like rectangle is almost like 20% more than, a square is almost like 20% less than rectangle. And again, if you see, round is almost like 30% less than the rectangle. So the shape makes a big difference. Yeah, can I go to the next slide? Yeah, so another one of the most important part of sustainable building design is the waste management. How you can manage the waste inside your own home. You have a lot of sorting out which can happen at the disposal source. We can do into kind of organic waste, waste composting, and you can recycle. You can give plastics and all for recycling. So main thing is the package, which is one of the most important part in the waste management. The different kind of packages which come into our house. You can either reduce it, you can either recycle it, or you can even reuse it. And again, biogas can be kind of a option for the organic waste, or kind of. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, then picking the building material is one of the most important part again in a sustainable design. One is the local sourcing. The maximum you have to try to locally source materials, otherwise it's going to work out very expensive, because it has to travel so much of distance. The logistics actually takes up a lot of kind of fuel energy, and again money. Money also we can consider as a resource now for a sustainable design. Recycled ones, you can always use a lot of recycled material. I can, when I'm showing my work, I can show some of the recycled things which I did. Then non-toxic materials, as far as possible, try and get maximum natural materials. Things which are reusable, things which are renewable. Suppose you want to break down the building, you can actually renew this, use it somewhere else. That is a kind of material you should choose. Some of the materials which are good for our natural buildings, I mean, you can say it's some of them are like bamboo. Bamboo is actually a good material for building. I've done extensively work with bamboo now, and bamboo can always be grown fast and harvested. So I don't think it is something which is destroying anything. So it's actually a very good sustainable material. Wood depends again. You don't need, if you're like pine wood and all, they do a lot of replanting before they cut down the trees. So that also is actually a kind of renewable material if it is required. Then recycled plastics, a lot of recycling can be used in buildings. Earth is of course everywhere, so you can actually pick it up from everywhere you want it. You can actually dig up a little bit for your foundation or make a basement. You can use that earth with, that is exactly what I did here. I mean, for the dug up earth only I used to build this place. Straws is actually a lot of straw is being spoiled, just thrown away or burnt. I think Delhi and all has a lot of problem by straw burning. So these and all can be actually reused into some building material. Next slide. Okay. So again, it's the orientation of the building also matters here. The west wall is generally considered to be very hot in a hot climate, but when it comes to a cold climate, west itself can be used as a something which where you can we can make a sandwich wall where, and there can be air which can be heated up, and that air can be reused into your building for kind of for more warmer climate. And generally it is said that the largest building dimension should face north and south. And you can see a combination of the how it is done in the second picture. Our combination of a design is done with sun and wind both together. But unfortunately, this is not possible much in our urban conditions, because we have this 30 40 40 50 50 40 60 60 sites like that, which is always oriented to it, either east, west, north, or south. Like, so this particular design can be possible only in probably in a farm or something like that. Next slide, please. Yeah. So again comes one of the most important ingredient nowadays. Water is also getting very difficult to get soon. So we need to do a lot of harvesting. The easiest way of doing water management is to just harvest it off through, say, soak pits. Some of the people collect it and through underground and in different intermediate level collections. But I don't know. I'm very much doubtful about this whole thing, because you need a lot of big tanks to collect so much of water. So the thing everybody puts into soak pit, the water will be really available back. You do optimization in water by using like kind of in wash machines or in in sanitization, this one commodes and all, you have very optimized tanks now. You can also do recycling. A lot of artificial processes are there. There are some who are doing in natural processes also. So next slide, please. Okay, now comes one of the, again, after the water and energy, you can say the most important part is the food. The first thing is we need to actually respect and give gratitude to nature. The entire global food supply system is actually saying very, very unsustainable. You can say that the food travels from many of the far off places to your home, and you can say a lot of them are getting perished. And and because this even now with the chemical farming, you require chemical again, which is produced somewhere else, and again that is used in the farm, and then after that it becomes dependent only with the chemicals. So again, I told about the supply chain wastage, the perishable, the logistics, all that. There's so much of people who are living in hunger and poverty, but there are a lot of food being wasted. So can you go to the next slide? Yeah, so the best option to do is for you need to have a food generation, and very near to your place itself, and something which can probably say a 2 hours radius maximum, and which can ensure maximum nutrient density, the best flavor you can get. The preservative reduction is very high, because you don't need to use preservatives if it is coming every day from a nearby place. Very high nutrition. And other options are like backyard and kitchen gardens in our urban environment. Then comes aquaponics. Aquaponics is a beautiful system. Actually, it is something in between. It's a kind of natural, it's a natural synergy between fish and plants. So what happens is the waste of the fish, fish waste water is actually used into plants, and the plants again it recycled back to the fish. which is very good for the fish. So it is mutually complementing each other. And recently I was actually attending one of the class on aquaponics. The area requirement for about 40 meters square, you can get food for almost four people for a year. And only thing is the initial investment is a little high, but then it is giving very good organic food, because you're not putting any chemical in that. Even hydroponics, you use a lot of chemicals, because that is actually fed up directly to the plants. Okay, next slide, please. Aquaponics can be actually made in your own home also. So this is the latest, before that. This is the latest, kind of concept, farm to table concept. You can, it's like a lot of people are doing this now. And it's again the same thing, like it's very highly nutritional, the food is less, wastage is less, logistics is cut down, a lot of local community participation is happening. You can get fresh farm products. The next one. Yeah, this is the kind of actually planning we should do for our own home garden. Instead of more lawns, we should actually have, kind of more of foodscaping, like this. They call it foodscaping. It's a new concept. So you can have a lot of food grown in your own place. Yeah. Next. Okay, these are some of the plannings we can do actually in a garden. Like you can see here, like there is this straight line. If you put it in a straight line, you see how many number of plants. It's about 70 plants you're putting. It's just a small space, which is just just illustrated. If you do the staggered planning, you can see you can do around 86 plants. This is so that is the kind of planning you should do when you're doing the garden planning. And this is the concept. The second one is the concept of Miyawaki food forest. It is something like based on the height of the tree and the plant. You can the space, tree or plant or hedge or whatever it is, and that actually creates a forest by itself. And again, you can see this is a concept from permaculture, and there's something called permaculture. Many of you must be knowing. This is like but you see this the border of this pond. It's the same area pond, but see the number of plants which you can plant around it. From 32 it goes straight away to 64. Again, this is the straight path method, then there's the curve path method, then there's the keyhole method. Like the keyhole is actually a very good concept where for your plantings, because you can cover a lot of area. You can kind of make use of. Next one. Again, this is again about the border concept. Yeah, border actually of one planting to the planting. If you create borders, this is what happens. You see the second picture, how it works. If you're putting 3 species in the A section, and if you're putting 3 in the B, we have both the 3, both 6. They are coming plus an extra species you can put. So yeah, so these are like concepts which can be used in this way, space design in your garden. Yeah, next one. Okay, again coming back to home cooking. I think there's a new concept. I mean, maybe old concept itself, but recently even I have come to know about it recently only. But this is called one pot cooking, and it's something where you have very less water being used, and the time which is required to cook also is very less. It's giving a lot of saving in fuel and energy. It's a very healthy cooking. Then you can use biogas as a fuel. You can use cooking vessel materials like surgical steel, which can actually take in the heat so fast. But it is again, surgical steel is again maybe an unsustainable material if you look at it from the other angle. But then still maybe on the long run, because it lasts a long time, so you can actually reuse and use many times. So probably that's a good method. Even cast iron also is something like this. Earthenware is something which is again, because it's basically the material is very earthy, so we can use that. Yeah, next one, please. Okay. Refrigeration and cooling. Now we're coming more into mud now. So this is a refrigerator which is there nowadays. You can actually, if you're going with that concept of farm to table, actually, if you really have something like this, you can actually almost 4-5 days you can keep inside this mud refrigerator, which doesn't require any electricity. The second picture is about cooling down. So it's again a mud pot kind of thing, which is used to cool down the buildings, especially in the hot places like Delhi and all. Okay, next slide. Okay, I'm now coming back to some new kind of buildings. You can actually press once more, you get the names of those buildings. Yeah, okay. So this is your yurt home. It's actually something like a very round shaped one, which is getting very popular these days. And you can use it in wild places. You can see there also the shape is almost round there. So the material usage is much less. Then comes the bamboo houses. Again, I had told before that bamboo is one of the best building material. And you see this buildings which are made. And this earth-shaped home, which on the bottom left is the latest in sustainable buildings. It's something where you have we can it's actually one unit, even the garden, the vegetable garden, and all other things, solar, wind, everything is made with again building material as mud. This is I think now. Again, I'll talk about it more in slides. Slide, please. Okay. Now, this is slightly an old concept, but it's still going on. This is filler slab. The advantage of this filler slab is it is using less, but this time it gives a very good aeration property. You can see.
Raju,
Yeah, Meera, I think his network is again down. Why not you coordinate some interaction
yeah,
and perhaps others can be unmuted?
sure, ma'am. So we will again just wait for Rajiv sir. Hopefully he will be able to come back. Meanwhile, we'll have some more interaction. We can perhaps whoever has not introduced themselves might like to speak. Abhishek, can you stop screen sharing? Yeah. Alice, ma'am, would you like to introduce yourself perhaps? Niharika, could you please unmute her? Ma'am, just a second. We'll just unmute you.
I
Yeah.
have tried
Can you
to
hear me
unmute
now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, I'm a senior citizen living in the same layout as Rajiv, and I have also been to Rajiv's Kaleri, Aura Kaleri. Though I haven't, spent a lot of time looking at all the whole house and etc. I would like to go there again and look at it deeply. In fact, I have a property behind my house which I'm seriously thinking of doing some sustainable energy, like a mud house or something, or some kitchen garden at the back. So this has actually given me an encouragement to participate in this more, what am I to say, with full force.
That is wonderful to hear, ma'am. Rajiv sir, you are
I'm
back.
back, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have the screen again?
Abhishek? Yeah. So please go on.
Okay. So yeah. So this is the bottom, the bottom center one. I mean, the right side center one is something like a Hurdi. It's called Hurdi system, which is slightly old system, but it is also a very good system where the reinforcement rods are used very less for a slab, and you have a lot of hollow sections. So the temperature also comes down very drastically in this. Then the bottommost right one is the cement stabilized bricks, which I had actually used here in the gallery. It's actually you can use the same mud which has come out from whichever excavations that you're doing, and that can be converted into building blocks. And here what you see is more of a interconnecting kind of bricks, which again uses very less of the joined treatment, the joined connect, this one like mortar and all. So mortar also is used with the same kind of mud combination. So the main thing is there is no firing of bricks happening. So a lot of energy is not getting wasted here. It is all sun-dried bricks. So it gives very good strength. You can build up to almost 2 to 3 floors with this. Good concept again. It is the pioneer in Bangalore is the Chitra Vishwanath, which is she's an architect, and she has done a lot of work on this. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, again one more. Yeah. So these are some kind of crazy buildings. The first one you see on top is a Hobbit home, which is actually dug inside into the earth, and then you can grow things out on top of your building. Actually the inside is so beautiful. I've seen many of those photographs and things. In fact, I actually initially wanted to do this first, and that is the point of time when I got a mud workers. So that is why I did this. Okay, the one on right top is a ferrocement house. It is ferrocement is something like a very thin kind of shell kind of structure. So when you see that shapes, that curved shapes over there, that is what gives it strength. And if you build it straight, it will collapse. That's how ferrocement works. And again, the bottom left one is a very cute one. That also is something close to Hobbit homes only. Plus, many of them are like again ferrocement. What you see, those bubble things are the lighting which takes the light in, and there are some kind of for ventilation. There will be ventilation ducts again, but you can use the land space a lot with this method. Then again, the last bottom one is the dome structures. I don't know whether this person who did this is in Bangalore only again. Somebody is doing this, and he had come and met me a few days back. That's how I got this photograph also. He says this is the most cheapest way of doing a building now. So main thing is you can actually save money from this, and that is also again resource. So this, I don't know whether he's there in this group. I'm not sure. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Yeah, these are like earth bag homes. You fill bags with earth, and then you create many shapes. You can see that what all shapes they can make with this. You can see something like what is a kind of termite mound like kind of thing. And the last slide shows how termite mound. Now the latest, again one more latest kind of buildings which are working on is like these termite. How the termite mounds are, what are the shapes, and how it actually holds on so much of strength, So you can see this building in Dubai, Burj Khalifa. That is also the same shape, like, so they must have copied from the termite mound. Like. Next one, please. Okay, so now I am coming to Oracle, my own project, and this is the project which I did about 8.5 years now. Once I had to change this roof in between because it was not because of the roof problem. It was something like the frame had got had some kind of pest infection. So yeah, so can we go to the next one? Okay, this is how the first slide, if you see the first picture, you see that is how the whole space was. There were 2 mango trees there, and the left side mango tree is where we wanted to build the gallery. And the right side mango tree was the one which I selected and picked up for my project. It's at 3050 to 3050. So we managed to kind of hold to the tree in the first one in the gallery. And here the soil which came out from the gallery digging only, we made this cement stabilized bricks here. You can see at the bottom left, that is how it is made. It is a kind of a hand press machine, no power required. It's a manual machine, and it's again the sun drying. So you make it and keep it in the sun, and it gets dried. And see at the bottom, you can see how with the same combination of mud, and then say we call it sand together. Actually, the proportions are available in this. Okay, next one. Next slide. Yeah, use some of the places where the soil in chances of bulging in, we had used granite as usual, but then the material, the mortar was made with the same mix. The top right one is a rammed earth. It is another concept from earth building. It is again ramming. You do kind of boxing and then ram it to a particular number of times. That and the only thing is it can be done in any earth structure. If you see, you can do 1 to 1.5 feet all around. That's how you can do, but you'll have to do stage by stage. And you see those mango tree that finally we saved in the gallery. Later on, we did a kind of cement kind of. Initially, we had these roots coming. You can see that first in the first as the main root. If you do that root, give it open. Somehow we managed, and now we need a lot of crops form, but now that is now it is realized. Next one. Next slide. Yeah, so this is how the Aura Gallery building, and so there's we used to this Catarina Pro see over there, like it was really broken down.
Rajiv sir?
So, looks like we might have lost him again. We are sorry. We will wait for him for a few more minutes.
I think Prabhu has something to say.
Yeah. Could you?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. When we were talking about using solar panels, whether in urban setting or rural setting, we need to get a measure of what is it we are getting. We are getting electricity free, all right. You can heat and all that. Versus what is involved in producing these cells, because energy goes into producing those cells, and if the efficiency is not great, the cost of production, not the cost necessarily, materials that go into production, etc., and also the disposal after 4 or 5 years because efficiency has changed or whatever it is. We need, unless we get a equation saying that what we are actually getting is far better than what we are spending, then otherwise it becomes a another dream where we will be spending much more. But only thing is that will be hidden from people who are using it. It is almost like you are ordering online to avoid travel, but the online thing will use a lot of packaging and all that, which will destroy environment. So unless you get a clear trade-off, people will be unable to decide. They will go for random technology, which may or may not help the society as such.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else, you can answer it. It's not necessary.
Since Rajesh sir is already back, maybe he would like to respond.
Yeah, you can mute me because otherwise it may be, I
Yeah.
can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Please go on.
Yes, sir. Actually, I heard the question you were asking about the solar. Yes, that is true also that I mean, the cost of production of making cost of production is also high for making solar panels. Also like that, you know, there are a lot of resources again being used to make solar panels. But then if you see the energy which is being made from solar panels is much more renewable, because if you cannot compare now at this point of time, because the pricing versus this one returns may not be, I don't think it is not very great. But then if you look at from the nature's point of view, a lot of energy which we are using through hydro energy and other kinds of energy, they destroy the environment much more than probably this you know, solar energy. So that way, if you look at it from a sustainable point of view, it is actually good. So I hope I mean, I'm also not very clear about this, but then whatever I know, I'm just telling.
Thank
So
you.
now I'll come back to my construction again. Yeah, you know, in this mud or cob house, we call it, there's no kind of heating which is involved. You know, heating is again energy. So if you make any product, you have this heating, beating, and treating. Here, beating is happening, but heating is not happening. It's only all natural products. We are using something like jaggery and a kadka, nut called kadka, which is mixed with. You see those barrel over there on blue barrel. That in that we just put it, and then it just left for fermentation, and then the soil. We just mix it with the soil. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah, you can see that man, you know, he's pugging with his leg. He's just mixing it, pushing it, and making it like a paste. Then that is made like in the ball. You can see the right side top mason making that into a ball, and then just putting it across. You can see the height of the wall also. It's about 1.5 feet. That is the best you can do every day. You'll have to do the whole line in one shot. Then again, next day, come back again, do the whole line in one shot. Like that, you have to build it up. So you can see how the connections are made. It is just a bamboo piece, you know. And one thing I want to really tell is like, you know, the people who came to build my cob house were like 60 to 80 years old. The main Mestri was 80 years old, who had been calling me a madman because he changed his house to concrete, but I was doing you know, kind of cob house in Bangalore. So but you know, the old people who are the younger generation is actually saying really you have to learn.
Recording again, no?
There's got something which only few people are able to learn. Can you go to the slide? Go to the next slide. Okay. Now this is how it looks like after done. That is dining space, this is bedroom. This is the 2 beds inside the cottage. 20 by 20. Actually, I made in there.
Meera, is sir here with us?
We have. Yeah. If you have any questions, maybe, or any comments rather, we could take them. If anybody has any comments or suggestions.
There are
Can
some
we
interesting people here in this group. And well, I think someone called Yuvaraj Arwar. He has a very interesting project in Badlapur. You see here, would you like to speak about it? Yes. Please unmute yourself. Mr. Arwar, can you please unmute yourself and speak? Yes,
Hello.
we can hear you.
I'm unable to hear you properly.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, it looks like a day of network issues for everyone in every corner.
I have unmuted him.
Yes.
Mr. Yuvraj.
Okay, I think Rajiv Balakrishnan is back. Okay, he's gone. He was back for a second and he was gone. I think he's still there, but I think he really have difficulty. How many more slides are left, Abhishek? Is it
Ma'am,
possible
there are a
to know
couple
how
of
many more slides?
more to go. Yeah, there are a couple of more to go, ma'am.
Yeah, I don't know how we will be able to go forward.
I think we have more than 10 to 15 slides more, ma'am.
Oh, then I think it will be tough. It's already 5:15. It's possible people would have committed because usually we, I guess, end the program by 15, right? I think Meera or Niharika may suggest now what to do. I see also Rajiv Balakrishnan is now not there, I think, in the screen.
Ma'am, at this point, I think we will definitely include Rajiv's WhatsApp group. He's there, so we can take further comments and suggestions. I'll open the WhatsApp group for more questions as well.
That's right.
We can probably take the discussion there.
Take the discussion now. I think that will be the best thing to do. And if Yuvaraj Arwar is there and his network is allowing him, maybe he can talk about his very interesting project in Doddaballapur.
Sir,
Hello?
are you? Yes, we can
Hear
hear.
me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm totally not prepared for this, but let me just give you a small introduction about myself. Basically, I'm an engineer, so in electronics cadre. Like always, there was a quest in me, and there was a feeling that there are things which are not, I'm not doing things which are supposed to be doing. So that pushed me to perceive agriculture and try to be more with the nature and things like that. So thinking about nature, then I said, okay, let me try agriculture. So I started dairy farming. I did for almost 6 years. We had built my own brand called as Anandara. I had about 50 cows. We were catering to Malleshwaram and surrounding area. We were giving milk directly from the farm and paneer and a couple of other byproducts of milk. The business was quite good, but then I have understood that dairy industry is one of the, I think it's the second most pollutant industry. Then after realizing that slowly, we thought, okay, we'll wind this up, and I wound it up. Now I am into trying to create a biodiversity and live with the nature. This is what I am trying to do for myself. So in that pursuit, I was investigating, and I was trying to understand which is the best method of construction, the cheap and the best method. So I was able to understand that the dome structures are the most reliable structures. And one company by name Dome Gaia, they were doing this dome structures. So I was following them for almost 8 years. And then with my engineering background, I was able to conceive the idea, and I started building one by myself. 2 years ago, I made one small pilot project, which was quite successful. And then I built a house for myself. It's a double bedroom house, what I've built in my farm. Our idea is to create a biodiversity, means create a small forest. And I'm following that Miyawaki afforestation formula. That with that methodology, we have planted around 800 saplings in 4,000 square feet of area. Our idea is to have about 7,000 saplings in 1.5 acres of land and a house in between. So, and that we hope that that creates a very good biodiversity. And there'll be, like, we are choosing all native forest plants and planting out there. In our first unit, what we call it as Vanamitra, we have bought saplings from Biligiri Ranganbetta, that is BR Hills. Around 91 varieties we have bought from there. In that, there are a couple of, I think more than 20 species are in the extinctions. So we have bought those kind of plants and planted it in our farm. So this is basically about what I am doing right now.
Wow, that's really commendable efforts, sir. And we can also see a picture of your dome house, which is quite nice.
So I'm sure Mr. Arwar is going to get, self-invitations from us to go and visit this place, because it's not very far. It's in Doddaballapur.
Yeah, you're always welcome, man.
Okay, thank you.
Always welcome. Actually, this is just, I wanted to add one more thing. This dome houses are not new to India or to Bangalore. There are so many people might have built, but the construction technology, what is being used to build this particular dome, is very unique, and it is one of its kind. And in India, I'm the first person to do this. And this is the most simplest way of construction. Anybody can do it. So this is the beauty of that technology. And it is available free of cost on the net.
Okay, that's great. I think Meera, Rajiv Balakrishnan is back. So, but I don't think we have time at this point for further presentation. So maybe we should take some discussions. If people similar to Rajiv's passion is here in this group, maybe they should come forward and talk about their project or share their ideas with Rajiv.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure we will be able to continue with the PowerPoint given our network issues. And I think Rajiv is also facing a really bad time with the network.
Yeah, true.
Rajiv, if you have some concluding statements to make without the PPT, that would be great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. PPT is okay. Like, yeah. So, so to continue that, like, kind of, we just somehow managed to finish off with our, mud house, and then the next project I took up is the bamboo house. I mean, the tree house. So, yeah, the tree house was done by ordinary people. Actually, there's no carpenters or any skilled laborers which we have used. I have trained some of those ordinary laborers, and we completed that tree house. It took a long time, but then we completed the tree house also. Like, yeah. So basically, that's what the tree house just is a more of a fancy thing, more than you can say. But we used bamboos again. We used recycled pine wood, and yeah, that's how it was done. Yeah. We'll have a discussion now, because I think almost if anything is there, I can also, kind of, they can contact me. I can always talk to them, no problem.
I'll take the discussion to
And I was talking about Yuvraj only. Yuvraj only, I think I had drawn his dome only there. Like, I mean, he had only given me the photographs, and Yeah. It's a nice concept, actually.
Thank you, Rajiv.
Balakrishnan sir, if you have something to say.
And anybody else
I would like to
who
thank.
wishes to speak who have not spoken earlier also can either raise their hand or leave a line in the chat box. I don't know whether if all or everybody can be unmuted, Niharika, so that others who wishes can just speak.
Yeah.
Because we are going to conclude shortly.
Yeah, ma'am, participants can unmute themselves. I would like to request the participants who are not with us on WhatsApp groups, you can email us and or email our official email ID, or you can contact Meera or me directly, and we will be able to add you to the WhatsApp group for further discussions very quickly. And I apologize for the network issues today. Meera, you can proceed further.
We can share the WhatsApp group here itself in the chat box so that others, I think that will be easier so that they can come back, immediately join the discussions.
Yes, ma'am. I'll share the link immediately.
Okay, great.
Anybody who has not spoken, if there are any comments or suggestions or questions, you could please ask.
Balakrishnan here again from TMB Consulting. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can hear you, sir. We are just trying to find out if there are other people also who wants to speak. It's wonderful to listen to you, but we are also trying to see if there are other voices who wishes to be heard.
Yeah, I have shared the invite link on our chat box. Participants can please click on the link and join the WhatsApp group for further discussion. Meera Kumar Menon will be handling that. She'll open the WhatsApp group for discussion.
At this point, if there aren't many suggestions.
I think Mr. Balakrishnan can speak. He wanted to say something.
If you want to say something.
Okay, that's what I was telling you. We are coming up with, I put in the chat, we are coming up with an international school for performing arts in Sringeri. A huge project, 550 crore project. And the main building is in the shape of Veena, Rudra Veena, which is 100 feet tall. So that is where the whole thing will be settled. Other than that, we are coming up with Gurukula for children, about 10 to 12 mud house as well as in bamboo houses are coming up. So that is how I was interested in meeting Mr. Balakrishnan and seeing what he has done. We will be into it soon. January, we are starting all these projects. That's what I wanted to tell. I'm basically a civil engineer with more than 50 years behind me. I was with ISKCON and Akshay Patra also, building all those big kitchens for them all over India. Thank you. That's it.
Great. All the best for all your efforts, sir. And I think with that, we will conclude, ma'am, if that is okay.
Yeah, I guess if nobody else has, I think a few people have messaged in the chat box thanking Rajiv.
Yeah.
I would like to also thank everyone for listening and sorry for all the disturbances.
Yeah. We just wanted to almost ask you to just, walk around with your laptop in that where you are sitting, because many people would like to see, but I know with the network issues, it would be difficult. But we got to see some of the still images.
Yeah, the pictures were definitely very good, sir. So we will take the discussion further in the.
If somebody would like to visit your place, Rajiv, what should they be doing? Maybe you can do that.
They are welcome. They are welcome. No problem. They can just send me a message. My number will be available in the WhatsApp, right? So they can ask me, and I can. No problem.
Great, sir. So I would like to thank everybody. We apologize for the network issues, and thank you everyone for your interest in the subject and for making it here today and patiently listening and asking questions and comments and all of that. And on behalf of Team CSP, we thank you, Rajiv sir, for this talk. And thank you, Sankita ma'am, for being here, and Abhishek for your timely intervention as well and helping us out. So thank you everybody, and thank you Niharika also for your efforts. So with that, we will conclude today's session. We hope to see you for the next Friday lecture. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rajiv, for being here in spite of the network difficulties. I know it's not very easy there, but then it's so wonderful to always listen to your project. So inspiring from many dimensions. And we hope to listen to you, and perhaps we also will hope to visit you when things are better.
You're all always welcome. Yeah.
Thank
Please
you.
do invite me for your future programs, because I'm not there. I'm the first time I'm coming here. So for next Friday's program also, please do invite me. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You have been added to our database. You will be getting updates from our team. Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
you all.
everyone. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for listening to us despite all the network issues. We'll see you next Friday. I really hope with a better network. So have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Same to you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.